There are also some large expenditures for maintenance. There was the replastering of the pool that you saw in the 2011-2012 budgets. You're also seeing repair of the slides and the play structure, and there are additional repairs. It's like any other recreational facility. As it's being used, it needs to be maintained. Arts Fund revenue and expenditure, again, the same explanation. You're seeing increases through 2013, 2014. Again, you have expenditures that exceed revenues for various reasons. We also fund the 1% for arts through this fund. And, of course, 2014 is an estimate. Yes, sir.
I hadn't noticed this. Why is 14 1.5 times 13?
Come on, Doug. We're accounting for the 1% for arts in that fund.
We've had the 1% for arts for 15 years.
It wasn't accounted for in this fund.
So this is an accounting change?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that sufficient, Don? Okay.
What time is it?
Okay. Special Revenue Fund expenses by department. Again, this will assist you in seeing where the money is spent. Street is quite a large piece of this, the special revenue funds for obvious reasons. Okay, enterprise funds. As I indicated, the enterprise funds, water, sewer, and sanitation, these are run like a business. As you can see, when you look at the split up of the special revenue funds, the entire fund, it's split fairly evenly between the water fund and the sanitation fund. The sewer fund has had a large chunk of the enterprise fund dollar, if you will, and that's because of the wastewater treatment plant, the sewer lines, the things that are being done. We still have significant debt service that's being paid for improvements to the wastewater treatment plant. The sewer interceptor that's being installed out past Wicks Field is just another example of the large projects that the sewer fund is dealing with. Currently at this time and in this budget, it's contemplated that we will continue to work toward identifying a program for the Phase 5 improvements for the wastewater treatment plant. As we move ahead with that, that will also be reflected in future budgets. Okay. I won't spend a lot of time on this as we all have already gone through it. I would ask, if you look at the top, the water and sewer rate study is something that I explained previously, how we've dealt with it, having that implemented and how the council and the city moved ahead with that with the Citizens Rate Committee. The two positions that you see at the top, the operator position was contemplated in the 2006 rate study and again in the 2013. The half-time administrative assistant is being added to assist with maintenance management, and the capital improvements are something that if you look at future things that are being proposed, most notably is the $2.7 million Department of Environmental Quality revolving loan fund for well number 10. We're proceeding with that, and we'll have that before the council hopefully fairly quickly. And the Northwest water tank up at the top of C Street is also one of the improvements that needs to take place. It's a circa 1930s water reservoir that needs to be replaced. And for anyone interested, we have a large water comprehensive plan that I'd be happy to share with anyone. It's also online. Sewer plan, same thing. Go through the rate study as well. The capital improvements that are planned are the Phase 5 of the wastewater treatment plant, as I indicated, as well as the Southwest trunk line improvements. Sanitation. We just talked earlier tonight about the roll cart program. There's no increase. There is a change in service, but no increase in rates per the rate study. The biggest change is the roll cart program itself. In the fee resolution that Don will talk about here before the end of the night, there are some new fees affiliated with the roll cart program, but mostly for replacement of carts and those sorts of things. Utility rate comparisons. This is an interesting slide as you look across the board. Some places, some of the smaller towns actually have more per capita outlay for rates than the city does. Of course, city's a much larger utility, and it's dependent. If you look at water, drilling new wells, obviously if you can take that cost of drilling a new well across population the size of Moscow, approximately 24,000, or a smaller town where you maybe have 350 or 400 residents, obviously their rates are going to be higher. Of course, the capacity of whatever they're building usually is a lot less as well. So it's a little bit, it's comparable, it's good to see what they are, but we're really talking about disparate systems by comparison. Miscellaneous funds, 1912 Center, Transit Center, Information Systems, Fleet Management, those were the two internal service funds we talked about. Capital Projects, which is our largest single miscellaneous fund, which is where funding that is accumulated for all the capital projects in the city is accumulated. The Hamilton Fund, which is a fiduciary fund that holds the funds donated by Bob Hamilton in 2001. Bonds and Interest Fund, where we provide the debt service for any bonds that the council authorize or the voters authorize that are sold, and funds are accumulated there and spent to pay those back. And the LID Special Assessment Fund, LID being Local Improvement District. Special assessment is the assessments against properties to pay for LIDs. Of course, you see the companion LID Construction Fund about 3 spots above that. Local Improvement District construction is funded out of there. We currently have no current construction, LID construction projects for FY 2014. This is merely the graphical illustration of that, where these funds go. Again, as you can see, capital projects at over $4 million is the lion's share of miscellaneous funds as well. 1912 Center, as I indicated before, I've already gone through this. The city retains the responsibility for utility expenses and certain building improvements, and $60,000 a year is the money spent on the contract with Heart of the Arts for management of that facility. Transit Center is a brand new fund that was started, pays for the $1.8 million intermodal transit center that was constructed with city funds and a $1.5 million federal Transit Administration or Transportation Administration Tiger II grant that we were successful in achieving a couple of years back, and it's a joint project with the University of Idaho, houses smart transit, the university transportation and parking operation, as well as an office for the Community Transportation Association of Idaho. Fleet Management is an internal service fund. If you look at, we have an obsolescence plan that Les and Tyler, I'm sure, would like to spend the next hour explaining to you. But this obsolescence plan, every year, we take a look at that. It's revised and move ahead, trying to make sure that we don't end up with either a whole bunch of new vehicles that we don't really need, or a bunch of old vehicles that one year we'd have to replace half the fleet. So as you can see, it's fairly well thought out. It was very well discussed and at the council workshop. And as the mayor knows, there's a lot of discussion in our workshops moving up to the council workshop as well. Information systems, very similar to fleet. Again, these services are provided only to city operations, and the generation of revenues is an assessment against each of those operations. So that's why it's called an internal service fund. As you can see, some of the things that are being looked at have to do with the cost of software and hardware, including some upgrades, including mobile data terminals for the fire department. And we're looking at the obsolescence plan for our copiers, obviously with several distinct operations. We have different copiers for different buildings. We're trying to right-size those and not buy any more than we absolutely need in order to provide the service that we have to provide. The Hamilton Fund, the resolution that was passed, 2003-03, was the City Council's statement of intent that those funds would be maintained separately from city funds, that they would be used to offset the cost of operations for the Hamilton Indoor Rec Center. That included the payment for the certificates of participation, the amortization of those bonds and interest, or excuse me, that debt and interest, as well as the operations of the HERC. We've gone over how that occurred, and so we are still maintaining that council directive. The $1.5 million, as I indicated, is within the FY 2014 budget to assist with the construction of the Joseph Street Fields. LID construction and capital projects. The main one that we wanted to hit tonight was the sidewalk program. The sidewalk program was an initiative of the City Council over the past several years. We have funded some of that both through the street program, through general fund, and through LID construction, so that we can try and address some of the mobility challenges around town, as well as some of the street or the sidewalks that need to be repaired. We have an active program with businesses and residences. 2014 capital projects, these are just a smattering of the larger projects and those that the public can expect to see come through over the next year. We have some city facilities, parks and rec facilities. We have the police department renovation. The police department, of course, is, we've looked at some different options over there, but this is one of the renovations, the restrooms over there, that we could not wait until the facilities plan was done. It's a matter of maintaining our facilities. So we have design phase for Mountain View between 6 and the fairgrounds improvements. That's moving ahead pursuant to an LTAC grant, local highway Technical Assistance. Okay, thank you. So that's a state program that we compete with other jurisdictions for funding, and has been the state program has been instrumental in helping us to develop Mountain View over the years. That's it. That's a $57 million budget presentation. I'd be happy to stand for questions, and so would Dawn, I'm sure.
Well, my main question is always confusing to the public is how you can raise property taxes 3 to 5%, but the levy rate is going to be 445 instead of 453. It's going to go down. Your levy rate goes down, but the property taxes go up. So how? Because when you see, oh, property taxes are going up 3%, 5%, you think, okay, my bottom line's going to do that. So can you explain the difference?
There, with Dawn's oversight here, but there are a couple of reasons. One can be with the we had two parts of the levy that was authorized by the City Council. One was the operational levy, and one was capital. So as the fire station number 3 falls off, that the amount of money won't be taken from a homeowner to pay that off anymore, so that levy is going to come down. The other piece of it is when you have property values fluctuate, the amount of money is spread over more taxpayers. So you could have an increase in taxes and a reduction in the levy rate, but the amount of money remains the same.
So the total revenue raises by 3 to 5%.
Yes.
But the levy rate may drop.
Exactly.
Because it always sounds really scary. You're raising my property tax, 5%, but my per thousand is going down.
Yeah, and we've all had the assessor's notice given to us that he or she is reassessing our property, and it goes up. Well, as it goes up, the levy rate is applied to that amount, so The money, the actual money that's taken in taxes may increase that 3 to 5%, but in a per thousand amount, it's actually less.